nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to the Managing Madrid Podcast. I'm your host, Kiyan Sobhani. We are recording this about 16 to 20 minutes after Real Madrid demolished poor old Espanyol at home. We are going to break this down. We got some sparkling water. Hope whatever you guys are drinking tonight, it's safe and you guys are celebrating that Real Madrid win. First things first, guys. First of all, congratulations to all the Madridistas, and hello and welcome to everybody tuning into this live. First things first, this is the most comfortable and satisfying purchase I've ever made in my life. And I had to order it before I start promoting it. I wanted to make sure. This is the new long sleeve Managing Madrid black shirt. Something about long sleeve and black, just super comfortable, makes you confident. It's very slimming. And we got this designed by Finn. It's all in white. So instead of the yellow blue logo, we got the white logo version of Managing Madrid. I'm going to put the link to get this in the show notes. We got hoodies in different colors. We got long sleeve tees, short sleeve tees. I'm going to also drop the link in the chat if you want to grab this for yourself to represent your favorite podcast of all time, or get it as a gift to your Madridista friend or whomever. Just click the link in the show notes. And if you're live, it's also in the chat. All right. Real Madrid for Espanyol 1. This is going to be pretty raw and unfiltered, and I would just say that I thoroughly enjoyed this game. Obviously, I enjoyed the second half a little bit more than the first half, and specifically, I enjoyed everything from the Carvajal goal and on. And before that, while I thought the football was pretty good, there was no real result to show for it, right? Because we couldn't score a goal, and we couldn't just find the back of the net. It seemed like every single shot that we fired off went right to the goalkeeper's arms. So we'll start from the top. Ancelotti put in some rotations tonight. We had Vinicius get some rest. We had Rudiger get some rest. Those were the two big ones. Obviously, Fran Garcia starting at left back over Ferland Mendy as well. And I thought overall the football looked good. I thought we pinned Espanyol. You know, the only thing lacking was the goal. So I don't know if there was anything to really complain about. It is true that Real just don't score first half goals. I think we have one all season. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I remember off the top of my head. But I really liked Arda Güler in this game, especially early on. What I like about Endrick, I'm thinking about Endrick because that penalty is fresh in my mind too, and the chaos he caused. But what I really like about Arda Güler is that he really knows where the ball is going before he even gets it. He knows where the ball has to get zipped to. He never overcomplicates the situation. The quickest and most direct path to goal, the most minimal amount of touches, the least amount of touches you could possibly take to execute the action. And he's very efficient on it, and he makes the right decision. It started very early on with the shoulder drop passes, man. I think in the second minute or so, played some really good passes into the box. Really solid defensive interventions. I just like his decision-making. The most impressive one to me, actually, I think, was the one where Fran Garcia makes an underload and he plays a cross into the box to Arda Güler. And Güler really quickly and efficiently just redirects it with his head into Mbappe's path. And then Mbappe, that's one of Mbappe's, I think it was 9. I need to make sure I get this right. 9 shots in this game. I think he had 4 at halftime, 9 by the end of it, 6 of those on target, 7 key passes. This is the Mbappe stat line. 9 shots, 7 key passes. What? That's wild. How many dribbles did he have? Only 1. Rodrigo led the way with 4. It's kind of nice to just have a game like this. You know, we had like almost every weekend was a game like this back in like peak Cristiano ball, where was the score 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 7-3, like just crazy score lines, and the stats were always crazy. Everyone had a bunch of key passes. Everyone had a bunch of shots, and then there was a bunch of goals to show for it. Modric tonight, 6 key passes. He had 5 of those in the first half. I thought he was a good performer. So between Güler and Modric, the creative element was very good in the first half. I thought Bellingham also was roaming into the right zones, and he was very good in tight spaces. I think we almost take it for granted now that if he's under pressure, he's just retaining possession. He's doing a spin move. He's just dropping his shoulder past his man. Bellingham, I thought today was also very good. And obviously, it was his quick thinking to pounce on that loose ball in the box, which led to the equalizer where Carvajal scored. So there was just good creative stuff. Like an Mbappe, for all of the shots he hit right into the goalkeeper's arms, I thought it was another positive performance from him. And his off-ball movement was good. And I feel like he's just generating a lot of chances that he would have converted last season. And I'm still waiting for him to convert like the golazos and some of those more difficult chances. I think that'll come. But I've spoken about this a lot of times. Shot generation is an underrated trait. You need people to just generate a high volume of shots. It causes chaos, and it's very important. So that and the other thing I wanted to mention for the first half in particular, because there's not really much to note on the defenders in the first half. I have some thoughts on Tchouameni and Carvajal, but those won't dominate the podcast. But they didn't really have much to do for the majority of this game. And that is also reflected in the numbers, because if you look at some of the numbers from this game, which you can see if you're on YouTube here, XG of 5.21, expected threat 2.8, field tilt like nearly 80% of Real Madrid's favor. So this was complete domination, and really there really was only going to be one outcome. And if Real Madrid dropped points in this game, I think it would have been just a really bad situation, because there's no way. I mean, first of all, the opponent is not very good, although they've had a couple of good wins this season. This was a domination from start to finish. Right, so there wasn't much to note about the defensive line. I did want to single out Fede Valverde, though, as a standout performer, at least from the defensive side of things, because we didn't see him venture into the final third much, because A, he was the anchor, he couldn't, and B, we didn't really need him to. Like it was congested enough to begin with, trying to break down Espanyol's mid to low block throughout this game, with Rodrigo, with Jude, with Mbappe, with Arda Güler, with Modric getting very high up the pitch. So we didn't need Fede to get even higher. But Fede had several very, very good and impressive defensive interventions from that role that I wanted to also single out as a positive. So the only thing we were missing in the first half was the finishing, right? So I didn't have a huge problem with the first half performance, much like I didn't against Betis. And who was the other one? Stuttgart. It was just the finishing we were missing mostly. So the second half, you just assume like, okay, we see all the memes of second half FC. We just assume that the team is going to come out firing. Obviously, that took a turn on its head when the high line on a goal kick, I think it was, because Joan Garcia had the ball at his feet. It was Espanyol's goalkeeper. And I can't remember off the top of my head if it was a goal kick or if it was just a different situation. But Joan Garcia has the ball, and he pings this great long ball over the top of Carvajal, who got caught. And then the cutback is just redirected into the net by by Courtois, who makes a very, very, very rare mistake. So at that point, it's 1-0, and then you see Vinny popping off the bench immediately. We equalized. Carvajal's last touch of the game is his goal, because he comes off right after, which I think was the correct sub, because I felt like Carvajal wasn't actually at his best tonight. He had some sloppy touches, and it was good to get Vasquez's fresh legs in that situation. Vinny, man, I'm out of words for this guy. That Trivela ball into the box, he's perfected it. Like, that's his craft now. That's his thing. Players are just known for things. Like with Zidane, it's the roulette. Oh shit, my camera wants. No! Oh my God. How long has it been muted? Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I think... All right, so I'm going to for the first time in like 7 years, I might actually have to edit a podcast, which I really did not want to do. But okay, I think I know where I lost sound. I think, I think, shoot, man, I think it was probably when, my God, literally, I had the greatest monologue in the history of my podcasting career was in those 2 minutes. But I think I know when it happened. It was when I left to get the charger. So, because I know when I unplugged it. Okay, so here's what I was saying. I was waxing lyrical about the Vinicius Trivela outside the boot pass. He's perfected that. That's his craft. Whether it's just certain players are going to be known for certain things, that's just in his locker. That's in his toolbox. He can pull it out now at any time and just launch it with perfection. And it's such a difficult pass to defend because of the way it just goes outside of the defenders and then kind of curves back into the attacking player. So after that, it was just transition attack after transition attack. And for whatever reason, I mean, for a variety of different reasons, the game state is just so different in the second half. And it's usually because opponents now have to open up and chase the game against Real Madrid, and Real Madrid are devastating in transition. But in that particular case, it was still tied when Vinicius made that pass. And the game really needed a moment of individual brilliance. And that was the moment of individual brilliance Vinicius came up with off the bench. So it was just a game-changing presence. And of course, after that, it was just I lost track. Whether it was Mbappe getting the ball in transition, whether it was Vinicius, and of course, Mbappe played the ball into Vinicius for the third goal. And then Endrick coming on, and then Endrick just causes so much chaos. I mean, it's really hard to kind of put into words like the Endrick experience. But I just said, how can you not love Endrick? He just comes in and fucks shit up like off the bench. It's just pure chaos. I love that. And it's not always like this graceful, artistic thing. It's sometimes just him just not being shy at all, not being afraid of the moment, trying to take players on, trying to be just very proactive. He's not like a reactive player. He's just an instigator. He's a protagonist when he comes on. And I love that about him. And it may look clunky at times, it may look chaotic and erratic, but it's useful. It's a very useful trait. Obviously, he comes in and causes the penalty. He nearly scores 2 with that 1-2 with Mbappe late. At that point, the game was so done and dusted, and it was just kind of to stat padding mode. So he's already kind of exceeded my expectations in terms of how much I thought he would have been involved to start his Real Madrid career. And I think part of it is that, I think part of the reason why I've kind of inflated and had pretty high tallies for our goals, like when I was doing the roundtable predictions before the season, I had our goal tallies pretty high for all the attackers. And part of the reason is because I expected some games like this where you can run the score line and just stat pad if the opponent is demoralized and just can't defend anymore. So Endrick, a ton of fun. Let's take a quick super chat that came in. Tragic TV says, hey, Kiyan, how woeful was that Endrick foul? That was the worst case of a player dragging I've ever seen. Should have been a straight red if for no pen. I mean, I don't know if I would have done a straight red for that. I think it was the call was fine. Yellow card and a penalty seemed like a fair punishment. He was trying to commit a foul much earlier. Couldn't stop Endrick because Endrick just stayed on his feet and he's strong and he basically dragged the defender with him. And then it ended up being in the box. I'm fine with it. I think a red would have been harsh, to be honest. Sheikh Atiri says Endrick has the CR7 factor, forcing it on the game. Yeah, I don't know why we have to bring CR into it, but I think that's the point I was making, Shay, too, was that he's just noticeable. He's very present, and this goes back to anytime we watch the Palmeiras games, it was the same thing. It was you just notice him, and even if he can go large stretches of the game unnoticed, what happens is that he'll still have a moment or two. So the moments thing, there's a part of it that's it's just the moments with him. He has moments. He has moments that are very, very. It's very obvious that he's trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck. All right, let's go back to the notes. I'm assuming Ancelotti will be taking the podium soon if he hasn't already. So I'll kind of deal with those quotes as they come in. Our defensive structure looked better tonight, and I say that with some caution in that it's Espanyol, and they really were not threatening us at all. But it's not our fault. We face what we're put forward against, and I thought our press was much better. What I liked today is that when Espanyol had a goal kick, we went to a man-to-man high press, and it was very effective. We were very good at just winning the ball as soon as we lost it. I wonder how. Let's go back into nerd mode. But I'm curious to know how many passes per defensive action we had, because it felt like we always had the ball, and when we didn't, it was like immediately when we won it back. So that aspect of it, I liked. I think we mentioned enough about Mbappe earlier in the show, but I just really admire his movement. His movement to get into the right zones to receive the pass is elite. And the only thing he's missing, apart from the stuff we already know he doesn't have in his game, like defense, what he's missing is just the finishing aspect of it. Because he has the shot volume, he has the movement, he has the link-up play, and right now he's just shooting everything at the goalkeeper or shooting over the bar. So once that comes good, I think he's just going to be unstoppable, and I think it's going to be. It might be a gradual thing. I don't know, but I feel like he's looking more and more comfortable every game, and that part of it will come. We talked about Güler, who I thought was brilliant. Modric was fantastic tonight. Bellingham, did I say enough about him? Again, he's just so good at holding on to possession and escaping pressure. And even in these little tight zones in the box, by the time it was 1-1 in a brief period when it was 1-0, Espanyol had 9 players in the box and the other 2 were not far away. So there was just one sequence where we were just in the left half space. It was Mbappe, Jude, and Fran Garcia. And there's so many Espanyol shirts there. And Bellingham just casually does a roulette, with 3 players around him. And then seconds later, he's putting this dangerous ball into the box for Carvajal. I thought he was great. I nearly lost my heart. My heart just escaped my body when he started to hold his shoulder, which, by the way, came right after this incredible sliding tackle to stop a counterattack. And that was the cost. He just the way he landed on his shoulder seemed really awkward and painful. So I just hope we don't. I just hope we don't wake up tomorrow and see this report of Bellingham shoulder out for X amount of times. I just really hope that doesn't happen, because sometimes you just don't really feel the brunt of what's happened until the day after, because you just play through it with adrenaline. It doesn't bother you as much. So I'm hoping that it's fine. But I was a little bit worried. But Bellingham, brilliant tonight. I thought low-key, Militao was pretty good. Did really well to get to lose his man on set pieces and get on the end of 2 headers. He also had one crucial defensive intervention in the box that I remember he may have had more. I thought his partner Tchouameni not as good. It was kind of like Tchouameni so far this season. It's you don't know if he's going to be fully dialed in or just going through the motions. I thought tonight it was a bit more going through the motions. I thought he should have stepped up to block a couple shots quicker. Passing out of the back could have been better at times. One of them nearly led to an Espanyol break. And there was one other one where, do you remember that situation in the second half in the 68th minute where they briefly did a VAR check to see if Fede committed a penalty in the box, which he didn't. But on that sequence, it's Tchouameni getting turned inside out way too easily and not being able to keep up with his man. That's it, guys. Flying solo today. I wanted to get 20 minutes of analysis. And I'm sorry about the 2 minutes we lost due to my microphone cutting out. But Yeah. One more super chat. Ancor Giotti Bordoloy says Courtois nutmeg memes incoming from Barca and City fans. Bring it on. More receipts for us at the end of the season. Guys, tomorrow's Sunday. On Monday, Lucas and I are going to be back. And we got four episodes for members next week. That's more than usual. We usually have 2 or 3, but we're going with 4 next week. So we're going to be very, very busy for our members. Go to patreon.com/Managing Madrid. Get access to the content. If you don't have Patreon in your country, because I know some of you guys don't, you can simply hit join underneath this YouTube video or click the memberships tab on the Managing Madrid YouTube channel, because that's what it's called now. And here you can see what it looks like. This is everything we've done last week. So yesterday, or 1 day ago, Matt and I did a podcast. 19 hours ago, Lucas and I did a podcast. 2 days ago, another podcast where Lucas and I talk about Casillas versus Courtois. It's just relentless in all of this. This is only for members. We'd love to meet you on the inside. We also do a monthly Zoom call. We'd love to meet you, chat with you guys face to face. Camera on, mics on, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for being here live on the call. I know there's a lot of you, so I appreciate you. Hope the chat was respectful. And we will see you guys Monday. And of course, we play Tuesday. So we'll be back on YouTube on Tuesday as well after the game. All right, guys. Thank you. Peace out.